Have mercy. It's time for another podcast video rant. I'm Sugar Bomb the Caffeinated here at rentafriendradio.com. I am your prophet of truth, beauty, soul, and style. You need a friend, I need the money. That's why I'm your Rent-A-Friend. Among the various thinkers of ancient Greek and Roman cultures is a name which has for too long failed to become the focus of his own holiday, cheesy greeting cards and stupid songs by which to inspire those awful animated kids' movies. He is a man whose contribution to Western culture is unmatched by any of his contemporaries. His touch has been felt by more people and integrated into our daily lives more than the works of Pythagoras, Plato, and Socrates combined. This man is none other than the philosopher Sarcast. Before Sarcast, lies were used only to make others believe something the teller knew not to be true. When someone said something untrue, it was because they did not want you to know the truth. Plato might say, "Of course I knew that a squared plus b squared equaled c squared," but in fact wouldn't know a squared from a Corinthian column if it walked up and slapped him on the toga. Making fun of people was direct and clear, and never left room for confusion. For instance, Plato might say, "Hey, Pythagoras, your theorem is totally stupid. I hate it." And Pythagoras would understand completely that Plato was a jerk. Sarcast argued that lies could be applied in such a way to clearly indicate that they were lies, and thereby imply a meaning which was both rude and possibly funny to ourselves, in a laughing-at sort of way. The sarcastic theorem goes something like this. Unnatural vocal tonality can be applied to an untruth to both convey the untruthfulness of the statement, as well as to belittle the recipient of the statement. It's also helpful if the statement is followed up with a condescending laugh or snorting noise. Done properly, the lie would not only convey its own untruthfulness, but would contain within its tonality a bitter and scathing quality, like sandpaper undergarments. Once applied, Plato could say, "Hey, Pythagoras, nice theorem." And because of his inflection, Pythagoras would understand that Plato was still a jerk. This ideology spread like wildfire, and before long the concept had been adapted into the politics and daily life of ancient Greece. The problem was, because there was not a system of italics to indicate a written statement was to be a sarcastic statement, governmental decrees, laws, ghost-written speeches lost all intended meaning, and the Greek Empire crumbled in roughly 4 years. Ironically, the Aztecs had developed the system of italics, but had failed to develop their own vocalized system of sarcastic communication. Because of this, they stopped using italics at all and went back to blood sacrifices. It wasn't until Western explorers of the late Middle Ages arrived with their sarcasm, "Hey, nice human sacrifice, dorks," the Aztecs once again reverted back to italics and stopped the killing. Of course, the Western explorers didn't want grammatical tricks, they wanted gold. So they failed to pick up on the italics, and they themselves started a whole new series of killings. It wasn't until the development of the instant messenger that the written word could truly be said to be sarcastic. However, many people fail to remember to italicize when being sarcastic, unless of course they're emphasizing something like, "She is totally not going to that party, no matter what Steve told you." Even this use is reflexive of sarcasm, though is a lesser form and developed by a student of Sarcast named Snodius, the stuck-up and petty. So as we reflect on the contribution to our culture by this great thinker, let us all also remember to use his gift properly. First of all, just realize that, if you do use sarcasm frequently, not only do you not owe any royalties, but you are a real jerk. No, really, you are, but don't let that stop you. Your arrogance will give you enough reason to justify being a jerk. Secondly, if you're going to be sarcastic in written form, italicize it so we know to read it with a change in tone. Better yet, just tell the reader so that we'll know. "That dress you wore last night made you look hot." This can imply that either you were stunning and a thing of true beauty, or that you were sweating like a pig. This, however, is the fault of homonyms, which is another issue altogether. On the other hand, "That dress you wore last night made you look hot," sarcasm, clearly implies that that hideous rag you draped over your inhuman form was capable of inducing vomiting from a good 50 yards away. Finally, whether we utilize it in written form, spoken form, or both, let us never forget the ancient thinker who has put this tool of communication into our hands, changing our lives and our civilization forever. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Sarcast.